I want to go into trusting the process, and I want to do a deeper dive into that. So I talked about trust the process before, and the idea was trusting the process doesn't just mean be patient. Doesn't mean just sit there and hope and wait for the end results and just knock doors and just go through the motions. That's not what that means. It means focus on the inputs, the hard work, the persistence, the be happy, and you will get the end results by trusting the process. You'll slowly, continually improve. I'm not going to talk about that today. I'm going to talk about what you think about on the doors. So you have your conscious brain and your subconscious brain, also known as like your slower thinking side of the brain and your faster thinking side of the brain in terms of decision making, analytical thinking, whatever. So you have these two sides of the brain. Your goal in sales is the same as if it were a sport or anything else, which is to tap into the faster thinking subconscious side of your brain, which is you'll get results without having to actually think. That is your goal, which you have two sides of it. You have go through the motions, but you also have this flow state. And I don't want you to go through the motions. That's not the same thing. The flow state is you're on the doors and you've trained and you've practiced every single objection. You've practiced all the different aspects to it so that when the objections come, you don't have to think about it. You can just say it. And you're not having to think about, should I pause here or should I pause here? Should I speak faster here? Am I speaking too fast? Am I speaking too slow? How's my body language? Should I point here? Should I point like this or that? That's where you're off. That is all your conscious brain. That's to be done off the doors. On the doors, this is the game time, right? And so if you're constantly thinking like that, if you're constantly in the conscious brain, then it'll be really, really hard for you to get into a flow state. Because now, if you're comparing going through the motions, which is kind of zombie knocking, it's not really effective compared to in the flow. It is where you're just getting sale after sale and you're just in the flow and you don't really know what's happening. You're just getting sales because it's just working. And you don't fully know all the exact words that you're saying, but you're following the roadmap because you practiced it and it's working. And so the thing is, like, that is the most addicting thing. One of them, using your conscious brain, that's exhausting, that's tiring. Subconscious brain, that's not, that's addicting. You can go sit in there forever. Now, let's look at the example of somebody that is in a flow state and they're getting a lot of sales. Um, but they start thinking, they're like, dang, dude, I'm on track. Like, I'm going to go have my best day today. I'm going to have a 10 day. Like, it's going to be amazing. What happens? They now just stepped out of the subconscious flow zone and they stepped into the conscious, oh, like, what do I need to go do to this and this and this? What was I doing that was working? What was I not? Now you're thinking, and that's when they tap out. They stop selling as many as they could have because you're no longer in that flow state. So your goal is to tap into the subconscious brain and utilize that so that you can just, that is trust in the process. So go practice, go do whatever it takes so that you don't have to think at all. Which part of it is the when somebody goes and drops you off in your area, you've already thought things through, you've already prepared so that you can go knock a door before your driver leaves, like so that you can be efficient with your area. That is part of it, that so you're not having to think, but eliminate all thinking so that when you're on the doors, you're not having to think about overcoming certain objections. Write them down, the objections that you don't know how to overcome, and then go figure that out after the doors, and then the next day go practice those. And so that is your goal, but your goal is to make it so that you're not having to think on the doors and just try to tap into that flow state. I There's one other thing that I'm going to go talk about after this in a different video of trusting the process and what your focus is on.